What's going on, YouTube? For those of you who don't know who Nancy Grace is, she is a television host, a television journalist, and a former prosecutor. And some of the things this lady has to say are just completely beyond me. So go ahead and comment down below which statement Nancy said that you think is the absolute dumbest.
You not like the people that use marijuana.
I disagree with you.
You just don't like people who use marijuana, and you want to see them punished.
Not it.
But the fact is that they're normal people just like you. They enjoy using marijuana for the same reasons people like having a drink after work, and they shouldn't be made criminals for it.
Actually, Brad Lamb, the reason I'm against the legalization of pot is because I've seen too many felonies. And I don't mean pot sales or growing pot like this guy up in Connecticut. I mean people on pot that shoot each other, that stab each other,
lives,
strangle each other, drive
families.
under the influence, kill families, wipe out a whole family. The first time I ever had a pot case.
You sound like you're from the 1930s.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb, for real.
This female
but I have to...
Hold on, Brad. The first time I ever came in the first case, it was a plea, and there was this gorgeous lady standing in the middle of the courtroom crying, and I didn't understand. I said, well, what is this case? Somebody else was taking a plea, and they said she's a stockbroker. She got addicted to pot. She ended up losing her job, wrecked her car, couldn't make the house payments on her house, so her husband got custody of the children, so now she has no car, no house, no family, nothing.
I know that there are witnesses that are ultimately going to come forward and name the three men in the bathroom with this girl. So Clark Goldband, what are the stats?
Well, Nancy, the stats are hard to know right now because Duke no longer in the league. Hofstra, number 2 ranked Hofstra, surging ahead of Sacred Heart last night, 19-10.
Clark, I don't mean the athletic stats. I mean the rape stats. What would that have to do with this case?
I'm sorry, Nancy, I misunderstood.
Alberto Hidalgo and his happy feet can tap 734 times a minute while performing this Spanish dance.
What is the flamingo?
No. The flamingo is a bird. The flamenco.
Flamenco.
I thought I heard flamingo.
I think it was just
Our judges say you said flamenco. Flamingo.
I'm from Georgia. I said flamenco.
And put all their news eggs in the Jodi Arias basket. They were forced to cover other stories, including another good crime drama, the kidnappings in Cleveland, from their current locations. Ashley Banfield from a parking lot in Phoenix, reporting via satellite with Nancy Grace, who seemed to be in the same parking lot in Phoenix. I'm basing that, of course, on the fact that the cars that are passing by Ashley Banfield's location box also appear to be passing directly into Nancy Grace's box. That bus is in each shot at the same time.
Negate the fact, the central fact, that Stephen Avery murdered Teresa Hallback. Your question, Mr. Bush, is off point. The issue is, did he kill Teresa Avery? I'm not arguing there's a different tier of justice for poor people in America.
After 4 hours of deliberation, 7 people said not guilty, right? 2 had no idea, or 2 were said guilty, and 3 had no idea. What do you think happened in there? Do you think that one of the jurors just was extremely persistent? Because 7 in the beginning said not guilty, and then they all came over.
Now, I assume that you're getting that count
from the documentary, unless they're lying.
Was...
Unless they're lying, and that's what we got to. Oh, you mean the juror? Yeah, Richard Mahler. I'm exhausted too, Nancy. Just keep going. We'll all be out of here.
You know what? It's time for me to start my show taping. I'm 5 minutes late.
No, come on. Keep going, Nancy. You're doing great. And off she went. she literally took off her microphone and left. And by the way, here she goes. I'm done with you know.
Look at your face. You're going, huh?
Say to you is that if this is legalized, then everybody is going to have unlimited access to pot. And unlike other people that are responsible, irresponsible child abusers are going to have free access.
I'm not sure if you know, but everybody has the ability to get their hands on pot right now, whether it's legal or not. I just feel like if you legalize this particular drug, it could cut out certain things in the criminal justice system, as far as the overcrowding of prisons, as far as putting this on our criminal record to prevent us from getting loans, prevent us from getting homes. Just the whole thing around recreational weed is not making any sense to me.
If you want to qualify for a home, then why don't you just not smoke pot? Why don't you just not
we're
get
in a
arrested?
deficit right now. We got to try to find ways on getting out. So I figure if we got half of the states legalizing pot, if the rest of the community legalizes pot, that frees up taxpayers' money. That allows us to do something with this extra funds as far as fixing everything from
I don't know what you're
pothole in
saying
the
about
street to a stadium.
freeing up
So I'm down with
taxpayers' money. What do you
Yeah.
mean free up taxpayers' money? Well, what is that?
For me, I'm a taxpayer, okay? And I have one example. For me, I'm a taxpayer. My bus get pulled over and they say they smell weed like they do all the time, okay? They find a grinder on my bus that has 0.01 of residue inside of it. Okay, they lock me up, they strip me, and then they find out I'm a rapper and they want to know how fine is Nicki Minaj. They want to take pictures and they want to let me go. They obviously charge me with 0.01. I go to court, I go to trial, and then they say, you pack your own bags. Is this your grinder? I tell them no. Well, who pack your bags? They find out my security does it. They drop my case, and then they pick it up on my security, who obviously beats the case. If that's not a waste of taxpayers' time and money, I don't know what it is.
All right. I'm not disagreeing with you that was a big to-do about finding one joint. But what I'm talking to you about, okay, fine. It wasn't even a joint. The point is still the same.
Wasn't even a joint. Complete waste of my money and time.
When you hear a story like this, where the guy is high on a legal marijuana cookie, how can you continue to insist that pot be legalized? And I'm not talking about medical marijuana. So don't start up with that. I'm talking about recreational marijuana.
Because, Nancy, I'm not going to let the isolated stories you drag off the internet impact and affect the millions of Americans who use marijuana responsibly and do not impair or impact society negatively.
Norm,
you're the one who's sending out the bad message.
You stated that we dragged this off the internet, when actually that's a police 911 call that you just heard. So are you suggesting that somehow it's not real because it was written about on the internet? Are you saying the 911 call is not real?
No, I'm saying your argument is not real because you take isolated instances of aberrant behavior and try to make them standardized for all marijuana users. And once and for all, Nancy, have you no conscience? When will this stop? When will you own up to the fact that millions and millions of Americans can light up a joint and have been since the age of Woodstock without impairing families, driving recklessly,
I was
or
really just
endangering
looking for an answer to the question, but obviously you're stoned.
Interesting little debate between two people, Nancy Grace and Nancy Grace, where she might contradict herself a little bit. Let's watch.
The judge allows in evidence that Trayvon Martin did have marijuana in his system at the time he died. What difference, if any, does that make? Because I've seen too many felonies, and I don't mean pot sales or growing pot like this guy up in Connecticut. To me, it means that he is less likely to pick a fight with someone. I mean, people on pot shoot each other. Isn't it true that when you smoke pot, you just want to lay on the sofa and eat? People on pot kill families, wipe out a whole family. The common connotation pot goes with lethargy, with the munchies, with wanting to eat, with being laid back, not with chasing somebody down, jumping out from behind bushes, beating them in the head till they're pulpy, and basically starting mortal combat. That's not what you typically equate with smoking a doobie. I've got to be drinking booze, or I've got to be smoking, or I've got...
You were such a little girl, Elizabeth. I mean, you were just 14 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to expect a little 14-year-old girl to react the way an adult might imagine they would react under those circumstances. You were afraid, I assume.
Yeah.
Did your kidnappers tell you they would hurt you or your family if you tried to get away?
They did. And I really am here to support the bill and not to go into what happened to me, what is in my past, because I'm not here to give an interview on that. I'm here to help push this bill through.
And I want you to push the bill through, and I want people to hear your voice. When we take a look back, there is a shot of Elizabeth Smart, and here she is 4 years later, and frankly, it's a miracle that she was ever found. A lot of people have seen shots of you wearing a burqa. How did you see out of that thing?
I'm really not going to talk about this at this time. I mean, that's something I just don't even look back at, and I really, to be frankly honest, I really don't appreciate you bringing all this up.
I'm sorry, dear. I thought that you would speak out to other victims, but you know what? I completely understand. A lot of victims don't want to talk about it and don't feel like talking about it. Let's talk about the bill. To Senator Hatch. Senator Hatch, you said you